Jennifer and Michael Lake were the perfect suburban couple, until he vanished without a trace and she claimed he left to find himself. But what Jennifer didn't know was that Michael had left behind one thing she couldn't erase, a hidden camera system recording her every move the night he disappeared. Jennifer Lake was the kind of woman people admired from a distance. With her honey blonde hair always neatly styled, a warm smile, and a seemingly tireless energy, she built a life that looked flawless. From the outside, she was a devoted wife, a loving mother, and a successful small business owner. She ran a quaint flower shop in downtown Portland, where locals stopped in not just for flowers, but for conversation. Her arrangements were known for their elegance, and her shop always smelled like roses and lavender. Friends described her as charming and intelligent, someone who could make you feel important just by listening. Her husband, Michael Lake, was quieter but no less impressive. A respected software engineer at a growing tech firm, he was known for his brilliant problem-solving skills and calm demeanor. Colleagues said he was the kind of person who avoided conflict and worked late without complaint. He loved his family, especially their 2 children, who were thriving in school and involved in every kind of extracurricular activity. Michael coached their son's soccer team and helped their daughter build model rockets for science fairs. Together, the family projected a lifestyle others envied. Beautiful home, good schools, weekend trips to the coast, and laughter that echoed from their backyard during summer barbecues. But like many seemingly perfect stories, theirs was built on a shaky foundation. Michael's recent inheritance changed something between them. After his father died unexpectedly, leaving him a sizable estate, Jennifer's behavior started to shift. At first, it was subtle. Questions about the money, how it was being invested, and whether it should be transferred into a joint account. Then came more invasive signs. She insisted on having access to his emails. She added tracking apps to his phone for safety. She began checking his bank statements before he even had a chance to open them himself. Michael grew distant. Though he didn't talk about it openly, friends noticed he smiled less. He seemed tired, preoccupied. He missed a few soccer practices and began turning down invitations to social events. When coworkers asked him how things were going at home, he would give a short answer and change the subject. At the same time, Jennifer became more active on social media. She posted constantly, photos of home-cooked meals, loving captions under pictures of Michael, inspirational quotes about gratitude and love. Everything looked ideal, even though reality was unraveling behind the curtains. Few people knew that the couple had begun fighting, not loud, violent arguments, but cold, strategic conversations behind closed doors. Michael started sleeping in the guest room. Jennifer told friends it was because he snored. He told no one. One rainy Thursday morning, Michael walked into work looking shaken. He had bruises on his arm he blamed on a fall. He was more withdrawn than usual. A close coworker asked if he was okay. Michael simply nodded. That would be the last time anyone saw him. By the weekend, Jennifer claimed Michael had left to clear his mind. She said he needed time alone, and she wasn't sure when he'd be back. But the truth was, he was already gone. And Jennifer Lake already knew it. The first few days after Michael Lake's disappearance passed quietly. Jennifer told everyone he had taken a short trip to the mountains to unplug from work and reset. She said he was feeling overwhelmed, that he needed space to breathe and think. Friends accepted the explanation, at least initially. After all, Michael wasn't the type to draw attention or cause a stir. If anyone needed a break, it made sense that he would simply vanish for a few days and come back refreshed. But as time went on, the silence stretched too long. Michael didn't check in with his boss, didn't call his kids, didn't reply to texts. His phone went straight to voicemail. Emails bounced back. At first, Jennifer brushed off the concerns, saying Michael had left his phone behind on purpose. She said he wanted a complete break from technology, even from family. But something about her tone felt rehearsed. It was the same lines, the same pauses, delivered too perfectly. By the third day, Michael's manager reported him missing. The police got involved, beginning a routine wellness check at the Lake residence. Officers found Jennifer calm and cooperative. She offered coffee, walked them through the house, and repeated the same story. Michael was just taking time away and would be back soon. She even showed them a note she claimed he had written, saying he needed time to think. The note was typed and unsigned. The home looked undisturbed at first glance. Nothing seemed broken. No signs of forced entry. The kids were staying with Jennifer's sister for the weekend, so the house was quiet. But the garage told a different story. Officers noticed a sharp, lingering smell of bleach. The floor looked unusually clean, too polished. One of them asked Jennifer about it. She shrugged and said she had deep cleaned the space to get rid of oil stains. Something didn't sit right. Outside, police noticed a security camera mounted above the garage and another by the front door. When asked, Jennifer claimed they hadn't worked in months. According to her, Michael had been meaning to fix them but never got around to it. The officers noted the cameras in their report but didn't press the issue. It wasn't until a detective with the missing persons unit followed up that things began to shift. The detective was meticulous. He cross-referenced Michael's online activity, traced his last known locations, and discovered a strange gap in data. Michael's phone, which normally pinged nearby towers every few minutes, had gone silent around midnight 3 nights earlier. The last signal came from the lake property. It was as if the device had been turned off, or destroyed, immediately afterward. Meanwhile, a warrant to access the home's security footage revealed something unexpected. The cameras had been connected to a cloud storage system. Although the devices might have stopped recording locally, all footage was automatically uploaded to a hidden account Michael had created for backups. Jennifer never mentioned it. That discovery cracked the case wide open. Investigators gained access to the footage. What they saw on the screen made their stomachs turn. Jennifer Lake had been hiding more than just her husband's whereabouts. The footage retrieved from the cloud began innocently enough. The camera mounted above the garage captured Michael returning home late in the evening, carrying a bag of groceries. He looked tired, but moved with his usual calm. He paused at the front door, fumbling with his keys, and then disappeared inside. The timestamp read 11:42 p.m. Nothing seemed unusual, at least not yet. Roughly 20 minutes later, another camera, this one at the rear of the house facing the side path to the garage, showed Jennifer stepping outside. She was dressed in dark clothing and wearing gloves despite the mild spring weather. In her hand, she carried something heavy and metallic. Investigators later identified it as a fireplace poker. Her movements were quick, calculated. She didn't hesitate. She walked directly into the garage and the door swung shut behind her. There was no camera inside the garage, but the one at the back of the property captured faint shadows flickering through the small garage windows. For several minutes, the movement was erratic, rushed, sharp, unsteady. Then, everything went still. No more movement, no sound, nothing but the low hum of nearby streetlights and the occasional rustle of wind through the trees. Hours passed before the camera captured more activity. At 3:21 a.m., the garage door creaked open. Jennifer reappeared, dragging 2 large plastic bins. She struggled to lift them into the back of Michael's SUV parked just outside the garage. Once they were secured, she climbed into the driver's seat and pulled out of the driveway without looking back. Her return 2 hours later showed her alone, empty-handed. The bins were gone. She parked the car, walked into the house, and turned off the porch light. Later that morning, Jennifer was seen scrubbing the garage floor. The camera caught her wheeling out a mop bucket, her sleeves rolled up, her face tense. She worked for nearly an hour, rinsing and scrubbing. She emptied the bucket at the edge of the lawn and returned inside. She thought no one would ever see it. But Michael had anticipated something. Investigators discovered that he'd set up the cloud backups just weeks earlier, after noticing strange activity on his devices. He never told anyone about the encrypted storage, perhaps a final act of self-preservation. Detectives now had footage that showed premeditation, cleanup, and a cover-up. Still, they needed more. Proof of motive, digital records, something that would tie all the pieces together. They obtained a warrant for Jennifer's devices. Her laptop, tablet, and phone were all carefully analyzed. What they found was damning. In the weeks leading up to Michael's disappearance, she had been researching various unsettling topics. Among them, how to dispose of a body without leaving evidence, how to access a deceased spouse's financial accounts, and how long a person must be missing before insurance money can be claimed. With the footage and digital trail combined, investigators built a timeline of that night and the calculated steps Jennifer had taken. What had once seemed like a tragic disappearance now looked unmistakably like a planned murder. The investigation moved swiftly after the damning footage and digital evidence came to light. Detectives now believed they were no longer dealing with a missing person, but a murder that had been carefully orchestrated. Jennifer Lake, who had once been regarded as a loving wife and pillar of the community, was now the prime suspect in a chilling case that shocked everyone who knew her. The plastic bins seen in the footage became a critical lead. Investigators tracked down the store where they had been purchased, a home improvement warehouse located 20 minutes from the Lake residence. Surveillance video from the store showed Jennifer buying the exact same model of bins a week before Michael disappeared. She also purchased bleach, gloves, and heavy-duty trash bags. Her credit card records matched the date and time of the transaction. Detectives pulled traffic camera footage to trace Jennifer's route after she left the house that night. It took time, but eventually they identified her SUV traveling north along Highway 26, then exiting near a remote forest preserve. Search teams were dispatched. After combing the area for hours, cadaver dogs picked up a scent off a narrow, unpaved trail. Buried beneath layers of dirt and pine needles, they found the remains. Inside the bins were tarps, clothing, and a body wrapped in plastic. Dental records confirmed the worst. It was Michael Lake. With the physical evidence now in hand, investigators dug deeper into Jennifer's financial history. What they uncovered revealed a hidden life. She had opened multiple credit cards in Michael's name without his knowledge. She transferred funds between accounts, slowly draining money from their joint savings into a private account only she could access. There were also transfers made to an online investment platform, registered under a fake business name, one that led back to an alias she had used before marrying Michael. Even more damning were the life insurance policies. Michael had increased his coverage after his father passed away, partly at Jennifer's suggestion. The policy, worth nearly $1.5 million, named Jennifer as the sole beneficiary. Just 2 days after his disappearance, she contacted the insurance company asking about the claims process. Her tone had been casual, almost businesslike, according to the call transcript. But one of the most chilling discoveries came from her online behavior. Investigators found she had been active on several online forums dedicated to true crime. Under a pseudonym, she had posted comments asking hypothetical questions about spousal disappearances and body disposal methods. One thread she contributed to was titled, "If you had to get away with murder, how would you do it?" Her responses were disturbingly specific. As the case was built piece by piece, a clearer picture of Jennifer Lake emerged. Beneath the polished surface was someone capable of deceit, manipulation, and extreme coldness. It appeared the murder had been months in the making, with every detail calculated for financial gain and personal freedom. But what Jennifer never realized, what ultimately undid her, was that the man she planned to erase had been one step ahead. His quiet nature had hidden a final act of caution that caught everything. Jennifer Lake's trial began 6 months after her arrest. By then, the case had made national headlines. News outlets called her the perfect wife killer, and social media buzzed with theories and outrage. In the courtroom, Jennifer appeared calm and composed. Dressed in muted tones, she maintained the same polite smile she was once known for, but the charm that once won over neighbors now seemed hollow. Her defense team argued that Michael had staged his own disappearance, that the footage was misleading, and that Jennifer had simply been trying to manage a chaotic situation left in his wake. But the evidence told a different story. Prosecutors presented the surveillance footage frame by frame. They walked the jury through every timestamp, every movement Jennifer made that night, and every piece of the timeline that led from Michael walking into the garage to her returning hours later alone. The plastic bins, the bleach, the scrubbed floor, each part painted a portrait of someone meticulously cleaning up after a crime. Then came the financial records, fraudulent credit card activity, secret bank accounts, and the premature insurance inquiries. Prosecutors laid out her web of lies with chilling clarity. Jennifer, they said, was not caught in a moment of rage. She planned this, she studied, she prepared, and when she thought she had erased all evidence, she moved on as if nothing had happened. But the most devastating blow to the defense came when the prosecution introduced a piece of digital evidence no one outside of the investigation team had seen before. A hidden video diary left behind by Michael himself. Stored on an encrypted folder within his laptop, the videos were dated and time-stamped, beginning 3 months before his death. In them, Michael spoke directly to the camera, calmly and quietly. He described feeling uneasy at home, noticing that Jennifer had grown distant and unpredictable. He talked about the strange things he'd seen, his emails being opened without his knowledge, his phone showing activity he didn't remember, and the odd behavior of Jennifer asking detailed questions about his insurance and work schedule. He said he didn't feel safe. He spoke of wanting to leave, of needing to protect his children, and of fearing that something might happen to him. The final entry was recorded 1 week before he vanished. Michael said, "If anything happens to me, check the cameras. I've backed everything up. Don't let this get buried." His voice was calm, resigned. It was clear he had considered going to the police but had hesitated, hoping perhaps it wouldn't come to this. The courtroom sat in stunned silence. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Jennifer was found guilty on all charges: first-degree murder, financial fraud, and obstruction of justice. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In the end, the woman who tried to craft a perfect story for the outside world failed to see the quiet strength of the man she betrayed. Michael Lake didn't fight back with violence, he fought back with preparation. His final act wasn't just survival, it was the truth, captured forever by the cameras Jennifer thought were silent.